Atención, Antony acaba de firmar un contrato de 3 años y la Bombonera se estremece de emoción en la pasión en Boca Juniors vuelve a subir al máximo. Desde el anuncio, los hinchas no paran de celebrar las redes sociales arden. Simo encajar el Brasil o en el esquema textico de este nuevo ciclo. Ser la pizza clave para devolver títulos y confianza al equipo. La dirigencia sostiene que esta contratación es un movimiento estratégico pensando en competencias locales y internacionales. Además, se esperan sorpresas en el mercado de pases, vender enemies refuerzos. Este fichaje no solo representa talento, sino una declaración de intenciones. Boca es listo para regir otra vez. When news breaks in the world of football, especially around high-profile players, it spreads like wildfire. And sometimes, what starts as a whisper quickly turns into a full-blown headline, even when the facts don't back it up. That's exactly what's happened with the latest rumors swirling around Brazilian winger Antony, currently under contract with Manchester United. Social media lit up recently with claims that Antony had just signed with Boca Juniors, Argentina's iconic club. Some videos even showed edited jerseys, wild headlines, and so-called breaking news posts that had fans around the world thinking this was the real deal. But when you peel back the layers, the truth paints a very different picture, one rooted in facts, timelines, and the reality of Antony's career at this crucial point. Let's get right to the point. Antony is, as of this moment, still a Manchester United player. That's not speculation, that's official. His current contract with United runs through the summer of 2027, giving the club full control over his future. Now, yes, he was loaned out to Spanish side Real Betis for the 2024-25 season, but that loan ended officially on May 31. There was no purchase clause, no option to make the deal permanent, and no indication that Betis was trying to extend or convert the loan into a transfer. Antony's time in Seville is over for now. The Boca Juniors rumor? As dramatic as it sounds, there's simply no foundation for it. No official announcement has come from Manchester United. Nothing has come from Boca. And more importantly, nothing has come from Antony himself or his representatives. That kind of silence from all sides usually says a lot. In today's football world, major deals don't stay under wraps. Even if the clubs try to stay quiet, leaks tend to surface from journalists, insiders, or even family members. But with Antony, nothing. Zero. That tells us this rumor most likely started from a misinterpreted social media post, a fan-made jersey swap, or a YouTube video that jumped the gun without doing proper verification. So how did the Boca link even begin? Well, a few key factors might explain it. First, Antony is Brazilian and Boca Juniors has a history of attracting South American stars, especially when they return from European football. It's not uncommon for the Buenos Aires club to be mentioned when a player's future is uncertain. Add to that the fact that Boca's passionate fan base is constantly pushing for big signings, and it becomes a fertile ground for speculation. Sometimes, all it takes is a few cryptic posts and some photoshopped content to light a fire. But now that we've cleared up what's not happening, let's talk about what actually could be next for Antony. Because his future is very much up in the air and the decisions made in the next few weeks could define the next phase of his career. It's no secret that Antony's time at Manchester United has been rocky. When the club splashed a reported £85 million to bring him from Ajax in 2022, expectations were sky high. At Ajax, he had dazzled under Erik ten Hag, showing pace, flair, and a deadly left foot that seemed destined to thrive in the Premier League. But the transition hasn't gone smoothly. Whether it was inconsistency, injury issues, or simply struggling to adapt to the physicality and speed of English football, Antony never quite lived up to the hype. Over 2 full seasons, he's had flashes of brilliance, but not enough to silence the critics or justify the massive fee. That's part of why the loan to Real Betis happened in the first place. It was a chance to reset, a way to give Antony regular playing time away from the pressure cooker of Old Trafford. And to be fair, the loan spell did bring moments of encouragement. While he didn't light up La Liga, he showed improved confidence, better decision-making in the final third, and a renewed hunger to prove himself. Beatties appreciated his contribution, but without an option to buy and financial limitations on their end, they simply weren't in a position to make a move permanent. Now, back at United, Antony finds himself at a career crossroads. Manchester United is facing its own identity crisis. The team has underperformed for multiple seasons now, and there are real questions about who fits into their long-term plans. Erik ten Hag, who brought Antony to the club, is reportedly under pressure, and there's no guarantee he'll remain in charge. If United decide to move in a new direction with a different manager, Antony could be one of the first names on the chopping block, not necessarily because of talent, but because of how his profile fits the new project. So what are the realistic destinations for Antony this summer? While Boca Juniors may not be on the cards, there are still several clubs, especially in Europe, who could look at Antony as a valuable addition if the price is right. For starters, some La Liga clubs beyond Beatties have expressed interest. Sevilla and Villarreal have been quietly monitoring his situation, seeing if a loan with a buy option could be negotiated. They view Antony as a potential difference-maker on the wing, especially in systems that give him more freedom and fewer defensive responsibilities. Serie A could also be a destination. Italian clubs are always hunting for creative wingers who can break down tight defenses, and a team like Lazio or Fiorentina might consider a move, especially if United are willing to subsidize part of the wages. The style of play in Italy might actually suit Antony more than the Premier League. It's slightly less physical and more tactical, which could help him rediscover the composure and sharpness that made him a star at Ajax. Then there's the wild card, a return to Brazil. It's rare for a player like Antony, still just 25, to head back to South America so early in his European career. But with Brazilian clubs increasingly competitive financially, and with Copa Libertadores always demanding reinforcements, it's not impossible. Clubs like Flamengo, Palmeiras, or even São Paulo, where Antony began his youth career, could explore the possibility, especially if it's a loan or short-term contract. That being said, a return home usually happens after a player has exhausted all options in Europe, and there's no indication Antony is there yet. Financially, Manchester United faces a dilemma. They paid a premium for Antony, and they'll want to recover as much of that investment as possible. But the market may not cooperate. Current valuations suggest Antony's worth has dropped significantly, with some estimates placing his value closer to the £25–30 million range. That's a steep drop from the original fee, and unless he has a breakout 2025 season, United may have to accept a loan with a view to selling later, rather than a big money transfer right now. All of this plays into a broader question. What does Antony want for himself? He's at a stage in his career where he needs stability, minutes, and the right environment to rebuild his confidence. Whether that's at Manchester United or elsewhere, depends a lot on summer conversations behind the scenes. If United offers him a clean slate under a new manager, there's a chance he stays and fights for his